Welcome to the lecture. In this lecture, we will see what is meant by tuples, how to create tuples, indexing, how to access the components of the tuple. We will also see slicing and some of the built-in functions available in tuples. We will also see how to combine multiple tuples, that is 2 or more tuples. We will also see how to modify components of the tuples. Let us get started. We will see what is meant by tuples. Tuples is one of the data structure available in Python. It consists of an ordered collection of objects or elements. Some of the operations on tuples which are similar to list as well. So, you can access the components of the list. So, if you wanted to do slicing operations as well, so you can do it on the tuples. So, the tuple values are separated by the commas and enclosed between the parentheses. The tuples are immutable. So, if you have created a tuple, you will not be able to modify the tuple later. So, let us see how to create a tuple. So, I wanted to create a tuple with employee ID, employee name, age and salary details. So, this basically forms our employee details. So, the tuple has to be created using a parenthesis separated by commas. So, basically what I will do is, I will create a tuple employee underscore details which contains ID, P001 which is a string, is basically an ID, John is an employee name, 35 is a numeric data type which is corresponds to age, 40,000 which corresponds to the salary details. So, I wanted to create a tuple using these details. So, let us say if I wanted to print the tuple employee underscore details, so you have to give the print of employee underscore details. So, whatever you have created as a tuple, so it will be displayed with those details. So, we will have ID, we will have employee name, we will have age and as well as the salary details. Next, we look at the indexing in Python. Since tuple is an ordered collection of elements, so each items can be accessed individually. So, if you wanted to slice out the some of the elements as well, so you can do it in the tuple. So, we have the employee underscore details which has a tuple with ID, employee name, age and salary. So, let us see the index number. So, we have two types of indexing. So, that is one is positive indexing and the other one is negative indexing. So, the positive indexing it always starts from left to right and negative indexing it starts from right to left. For the positive indexing, the index number it always starts from 0. So, the ID as corresponds to the index number 0, employee name John it corresponds to the index number 1, age which is 35 corresponds to the index number 2, salary details which corresponds to the index number 3. So, this is the positive indexing. Next, negative indexing it always starts from right to left. So, our 40,000 which is a salary detail, it starts with the index number of -1, age it corresponds to the index number of -2, employee name it corresponds to the index number of -3, ID will correspond to the index number of -4. So, this is called as a negative indexing. Let us say if I wanted to access some of the components of the tuple, let us see how to do that. To access the components, we need to use the single slicing operator which is the square brackets. So, basically the syntax is you have to give the tuple name followed by the, in the single slicing operator you have to specify the index number. Let us say if I wanted to extract ID from the employee details, already we saw that for ID it corresponds to the index number of 0. So, for positive indexing, for negative indexing it corresponds to the index number of -4. So, I wanted to extract ID from the employee details. So, employee details is a tuple. So, if you give employee details followed by the index number, so ID corresponds to the index number of 0, right. So, if you give that you will be able to access the ID from the tuple employee underscore details. Let us say if I wanted to extract salary from the employee details. So, salary corresponds to the index number of 3, right? So if you give the tuple name followed by the index number, you will be able to extract salary from the employee details tuple. So which basically gives you the value of 40,000. So you can also use the negative indexing value as well. So we have the index number starting from 0 till 3. So if I give index number greater than 3, it will be the out of range. So let's say if I wanted to access the 5th index number, print employee details 5, so it will throws you an error of tuple index out of range, which means, so you have the index number starting from 0 till 3, so you do not have the value of index number 5, which says tuple index out of range. Next, look at slicing. So slicing is basically used to access the set of elements. So if you have wanted to access the multiple elements from the tuple, so you will use the range of index numbers, which is x is to y. Let us see what is x and what is y. So x is basically the index number where the slide should starts. So this is inclusive. So this number will be included in the tuple. So y, it is the index number where the slide should end. So if you give the value of 2, so that index number will be excluded from the tuple. So y is the index number where the slide should ends. So if you give the index number of 2, so the tuple will be getting an output of the range till index number of 1. So the elements are extracted from x to y minus 1. So the x index number will be included, for y it is exclusive, so it will be y minus 1. Let us say if I wanted to extract 2 elements from the employee underscore details tuple. So I wanted to extract name as well as age. So if you give employee underscore details, so the name corresponds to the index number of 1, right? Employee name, it corresponds to the index number of 1, age it corresponds to the index number of 2. Salary details, it corresponds to the index number of 3. So if you give 1:3, so what it does is, so 1 will be included, so the index number will be included, 3 will not be included, so it will be 3 minus 1, so it will be 2. So you will be getting an output of John and 35, so which corresponds to the employee name and age. So only elements with the index number of 1 and 2 will be printed. 3 will not be printed in this case. Let us say if I wanted to extract ID, employee name, age from the employee underscore details. So we have 4 elements, right? ID, employee name, age and salary details. But I wanted to extract only the 3 elements from the employee underscore details. So if you give print of employee underscore details within the square bracket colon is to 3, so it will be able to print ID, the employee name and age values. So the ID will be having P001, John and the age value which is 35. So all the elements will be printed except the corresponding to index number 3. So it will be 3 minus 1. So the elements will be printed till the index number 2. So let us say if I wanted to calculate the length of a tuple. So if you have more elements in the tuple when you are created, so let us say I wanted to check the length of the tuple. So for command is len, so it basically returns the length of the tuple, so which means the number of elements in the tuple. The syntax is len followed by the tuple name which you have declared earlier. So in our case our tuple name is employee underscore details. So if you give len of employee underscore details, so it returns you a value of 4, which means so you have 4 elements in the tuple. So basically we have ID, employee name, age and the salary details. Next let us see how to calculate the minimum and maximum from the tuple. So if you have a quantitative data with integer or numeric value, so if you wanted to calculate the minimum and maximum, so you can use the built-in functions which are available in Python. So min is a built-in function. So if you wanted to calculate the lowest value in the tuple, so you can use the min function. So, if I wanted to calculate the highest value in the tuple, so you can use the max function. So, syntax for min is min followed by the tuple name. So, now I will create a tuple of marks secured by the students in English subject. So, now I am creating a tuple called English, which are sets of values 56, 85, 96, 75 and 12. So, while creating a tuple, the elements should be separated by commas. So, I wanted to calculate the minimum value for this marks secured by the students in English. So, if you find out, so the minimum value will be 12. So, we will use the built-in function as well. So, if you give min of English, so you will be getting an output of 12, max of English, so which returns you a value of 96. Let us look at how to combine the two tuples or more tuples. So, two tuples can be concatenated by using the operations which are available in Python. So, if you have tuple 1 plus tuple 2, you can combine the two tuples. So, you can also combine the more tuples as well. So, we already created a tuple with the employee details. Now, I am going to create another tuple with employee education and department details. So, we already had employee underscore details, which has the ID, age, employee name and salary details. So, now I am creating an employee underscore details too, which has the education, MCOM and the department details he belongs to, which is accounts. Now, we will see how to combine the two tuples. This is our tuple 1 and now we have created employee details 2, which is our tuple 2. So, I am going to combine the tuple 1 and tuple 2 together. So, you can also store it in some other variable name, or else if you wanted to print it as well, you can print the two tuples by using the plus symbol. So, I wanted to print the updated tuple. So, if you give print employee underscore details plus employee underscore details 2, so you can see the combined two tuples. So, now we will have ID, employee name, age, salary details and as well as the education and as well as the department which he belongs to. Next we will see how to modify the components of a tuple. So, the tuples are different from lists in sense it will not be able to modify the tuples once created. So, in list we saw how to add or remove the elements from the list, right, but in the tuple we will not be able to add or remove from the tuples using as well as the index numbers or as well as the built-in functions. So, append, del, remove, those functions will not be working in this tuple. So, in this case now I wanted to change the ID. So, already we had corresponding to the index number 0, we had P001, but now I wanted to change the ID value. So, now I am replacing with P002 corresponds to the index number of 0, but it throws me an error of type error, tuple object does not support item assignment. Once the tuples has been created, we will not be able to modify, which means you will not be able to add or remove elements from the tuple. So, let us summarize. So, we saw how to create tuples. Values inside the tuples are separated by commas and enclosed by the parentheses. We saw the indexing. So, there are two types of indexing. One is positive indexing and the other one is negative indexing. So, positive indexing it always starts from 0 to n minus 1. So, negative indexing it starts from the rightmost to the leftmost. We also saw how to access the components from a tuple. So, you need to specify the index numbers in the tuples. So, if I wanted to extract age from the tuple, you have to specify the index number. We also saw how to extract two or more elements from the tuple using the slicing. So, let us say if I wanted to extract two elements from the tuple, you need to specify the x and y values. So, x is the index number will be included in the tuple, y the index number will not be included. So, it will be elements will be extracted from x to y minus 1. We also saw some of the built-in functions which are available in Python, which is the len, which return the length of the tuple, which means the number of elements in the tuple. We also saw the minimum function and maximum function. So, these can be used for the quantitative data. We also saw concatenation of a tuple. So, how to combine the two tuples. So, you can also use the plus, and you can, if you wanted to multiply the tuples as well, you can use the multiply function as well. So, we also saw concatenation of a tuple, how to combine two or more tuples. So, you can use the plus operator. We also saw the modifying components. In the tuple, we will not be able to modify the components using the index number or as well as the built-in functions as well. The major advantage is, so once you have created, the tuples will not be able to modify.